who Crimson Death really is. The whole job, the whole wife, the whole terrorist attack, it was all fake. It wasn't real. It was all in Eric's head. It was a dream, a narcissistic illusion. He never had a wife. She was his doctor. He never had co-workers. They were lab workers. And the terrorists were the people in charge of the lab. What really happened was Eric never had a name. He spent his whole life in a stasis tube where they kept him since the day he was born. Because when the day he was born, he had a metahuman examination. And the metahuman check put him at a red class. That's one of the most dangerous classes of a metahuman. A red class means you could take over the world if you wanted to. So they took him from his parents, and Eric grew up in a tube within stasis, only able to open his eyes once every few years when they had power malfunctions within the tube. He would open his eyes occasionally. That's where he saw the faces that he saw in his dream. The lab, his doctor, and the people in charge. On the day that Eric was supposedly attacked by terrorists, that wasn't terrorists. That was him being shut down. Since the day he was born, they had been extracting his power from his body, trying to use it to power their own devices. But on the day that he stopped emitting such power, the people in charge wanted it to be shut down and Eric disposed of. But his doctor, who he fantasized as his wife, actually had a heart. She didn't want them to just kill a man who never even stepped out of the outside world. But everybody in the lab brushed her aside. They had her forcibly removed from the lab. But in this moment is one of the rare moments where Eric opened his eyes for a second. And when he saw his imaginary wife right in front of him being dragged off against her will, in his mind, that was the moment that the terrorists executed her. So this moment of anger just fueled Eric as his powers reached new heights never even documented in the lab since the day he was born. He used his powers to blow up the stasis tube that they had kept him in, and he used his powers to slaughter every single person in that lab and burn it to the ground. Unfortunately, the doctor was in this lab when he did it. He escaped into the world, now attacking it in vengeance of a wife he never had, and believing that he had a life that never happened, working for a shrouded golden-faced figure that never existed. Now, he never had a real name, but now he does. Everybody knows him and calls him Crimson Death.